expert woodsman who can cut down a tree more easily than most people can chop one up. When it really comes to tackling large lumps, you can't beat the men of the forestry companies.
An axeman's gathering.
This is Thomas losing the most that gets it.
STIHL Timbersports Canada is brought to you by the City of Charlottetown. Great things happen here. And by STIHL IMO.
The STIHL Timbersports Trophy Competition. In the trophy format, athletes have to complete 4 disciplines back-to-back. After the start, they need to cut a complete disc with the stock saw within a 10-centimeter area. From there, the athletes have to complete the underhand chop as quickly as possible. Only after they split the block can they return to the starting point, where this time, the single buck is waiting for them to cut one complete cookie. In the final discipline, the athletes have to complete the standing block chop in order to achieve the best possible overall time. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification and the athlete will be eliminated. All participants must first demonstrate their skills in the time trial. The better the athletes perform in the time trial, the easier their first elimination round will be. The athletes now continue to compete in a knockout system through the quarterfinals and semifinals. The losers of the semifinals will fight for the last podium spot in a small final. After that, the 2 winners of the semifinals will compete one more time to see who takes the title.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay Warnock and I have my co-host Ryan McIntyre here with me. You're joining us in Charlottetown, PEI for our 2022 STIHL Timbersports Canadian Champions Trophy.
You got it, Lindsay. Today we have 12 of Canada's top pro STIHL Timbersports athletes here to compete for a chance to be crowned our 2022 STIHL Timbersports Canadian Trophy Champion.
Our athletes will attempt 4 back-to-back STIHL Timbersports disciplines. This is a grueling challenge and will both physically and mentally test the endurance of our athletes.
Before we get started, let's take a minute to find out what makes Charlottetown so special.
Play 18 holes at Crowbush overlooking the stunning North Shore dunes of PEI. Crowbush continues to enthrall all those that take the challenge to conquer one of North America's very best golf courses. Undulating fairways, water holes with a wisp of wind, pot bunkers, and challenging greens all come together to provide you with an experience not to be forgotten. This is truly an unbelievable combination of nature and imagination. All right, folks, are you ready to start our event this morning?
In our Champions Trophy event, there are 2 chopping and 2 sawing disciplines. Here today, our athletes will run the course in a qualification-style round. The focus here is to place themselves in top seeding position before advancing into our final rounds of the event. Winning here secures the top spot to represent Team Canada at the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy event later this year.
And it looks like we're ready for our first heat of the Canadian Trophy. Coming up on stand number 1, make some noise for Connor Morse.
Head-to-head with Connor. Thomas Henderson, they call him Turbo.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
And we are off in the first heat of the Canadian Trophy. Connor Morse with an excellent, smooth start. They've got one cookie down. They're running over to the underhand chop. You got to make some noise for your athletes first.
Good stick. Connor's got a good one.
Looking good. That is really working well for him. Thomas Henderson, big swings from both of our competitors. They are on to the second discipline. They have another one, but it's Thomas Henderson turning first. Connor, smooth transition for him. Looking good. There we go. Racing the clock. We're at the 40-second mark.
Lots of time.
Lots of time still to be had here. Thomas Henderson, he's
Driving it off.
seen it starting to go.
This tough
He's
Aspen
yelling
wood.
at that wood. He wants it to go.
Yep, making him work. He's coming.
Looking
Here it is
good.
for Connor.
He's
Right
done.
behind. One
Here we
more.
go. Running over
There
to
you
the
go.
single buck. Thomas Henderson at the 1 minute mark. Connor Morse right on his tail.
Great race.
There we go. Looking really good today, folks.
Stroke for stroke.
There we go. Absolutely no hang-ups
Thomas
yet.
is
That's what
soft.
we want to see.
Holy
Looking
cow, that
good.
is
Come on,
cutting.
Thomas. He's coming down to the last bit. He knows he's got to use every inch, and he's done.
In the lead.
Lungs are burning, taking a breath before starting the standing block chop. We're at the 1:30-second mark.
Looking good.
But he can use your support out there, folks. Make some noise.
Connor putting in a great cut here. He's going to get around.
This is going to be a very tight race between these two. They're turning at the same
Oh,
time. Onto the last side.
150, still got lots of time.
Looking
Doing
good.
well.
Thomas Henderson. Big swings from this guy. Looking good. He's going to start driving anytime soon. It's looking good.
Connor's going to take it here, I think. Oh, close
It's going to be
race.
close.
Who's going to get it?
It's going to be
Oh.
down to the last stroke.
Oh.
And it's Connor
Oh.
Morse.
Just gets him.
There
Great
we
race.
go.
Well done.
Go.
All right, gang, here with Connor Morse. Just takes down that first heat. You were cutting well. Everything seemed to be running smooth. You happy with that race, Connor?
Yeah, overall it was a pretty good run for me. Opened up to a knot on the backside of my underhand. It was a little firm. Took me a few more hits to get it off, but transitions were good and still had a little bit of gas left to put some power in them standing block hits, so could have got a little smoother, but happy with the run overall.
All right, we're ready for our next heat of the Canadian Trophy. Up on stand number 1, you got to make some noise for Rod Cumberland.
Head-to-head with Rod from Saint-Gilles, Quebec. Donald Lambert.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great starts.
Fantastic start. Donald Lambert just ripping through his single buck. Rod Cumberland right behind. Here we go. We're off into the underhand chop, folks. You got to make some noise for your athletes.
Donald's hard hitting, taking the big deliberate strokes.
Absolutely. But look at the speed on Rod Cumberland. Great rhythm. Hitting every mark. Looking good out there. Rod Cumberland just getting through that first side. He's making a smooth turn. Looking good.
Yeah, his axe is loving that wood too.
Absolutely. Donald Lambert from Quebec on stand number 2. Looking good. Rod knows he's almost
There it
done,
is.
and he is. There we go. Running over to the single buck.
There it is. Close
Making
race.
sure all of the sawdust at his feet is making sure he's nice and secure. There we go. Rod Cumberland starting. Bit of a hang up, but he's finding his rhythm there. But Donald Lambert, great smooth start to the single buck. It's almost to the end of it, and Donald
one stroke.
Lambert getting through his single buck.
There it is.
Moving on to the standing block chop. This is where you're going to see Rod Cumberland shine. Competitors making sure to keep breathing. They've done 3 disciplines. This is no joke, but Rod Cumberland
157.
looking good, moving to his other side. He wants to drive it off now, but that is one tough piece of timber. He's going to have to keep that energy up for the last swing. Nice. There we go at the 2:35-second mark. Donald's right there with it.
Welcome back, folks. Let's head right into our third heat.
All right, folks, we're ready for our next heat of the Champions Trophy. Coming up on stand number 1, Scott Reed.
Taking on Scott, stand number 2, Berlin Nickerson. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Not bad. Looks like Berlin Nickerson first to finish his stock saw. There we go, running to our next discipline, the underhand chop. Scott Reed on stand 1. Berlin Nickerson, he is not wasting any time with that front. Looking good, big swings. Looking, and a smooth transition right to the other side. Berlin Nickerson at the 30-second mark. Scott Reed making his turn on stand number 1. We're almost done with our underhand. Berlin on stand 2. Nicely done. Looking good. He's going to be finishing that anytime now. Scott Reed on stand 1. That is one tough block he's facing. But it's Berlin moving on to the single buck at the 1 minute mark. You really have to cheer on your athletes here. Scott is finishing up his underhand. Boy, his arms must be burning now, but he's moving on to his favorite discipline. Wow, what a great start for Scott Reed. That saw is hungry today. But Berlin moving on to the standing block at the 1:25-second. Whoa, bit of a glance for Berlin Nickerson. Scott Reed getting a little caught up in the center of his block on the single buck. We're at the 1:40-second mark here.
Lots of time. Scotty's going to drive this off here.
Here we go.
Move on to the standing.
Definitely getting tired in this heat in Charlottetown, PEI, but he's walking over to his standing block.
150, lots of time.
He's taking his time, taking a look at the clock, but it's Berlin Nickerson moving over to his other side, looking good. Wow, nice slope, looking good.
Into some gnarls there, Scott, but he's gonna make it work. He's a big, strong guy.
There is no time limit for this heat, folks. So we gotta make some noise for your athletes. Make sure they get the fastest time they can. Looking good, Scott Reed making up time. He's catching up to Berlin on the other side. But Berlin is done at the 2:25-second mark. Here we go. Looking good. Come on, Scott, you're almost there, man. It's starting to go. He wants it. Wow.
All right, gang, here with Berlin Nickerson. Berlin, you took down Scott in that heat. Talk us through the chop a bit. I know you've been through this race a few times. What'd you think of it overall?
Oh, that was a rough chop. Most of the times when we do this, we do some nice white pine, and this here's some pretty tough poplar, so that's why you're seeing all these times over 2 minutes. And you know, it's not because we didn't train or we're slow. This is tough wood, so you're going to see some guys keeling over on deck here, I think.
We're ready for our next heat of the Canadian Trophy coming up on stand number 1. Put your hands together for Nick Russell.
Head to head with Nick, Alberta's own Wayne the Lightning Paulson. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice smooth start from both of our competitors. Whoa. Wow, that is a really fast start in the stock saw, but they're moving on to the underhand. Nick Russell first to the wood in the underhand, but Wayne Paulson is not letting him, but it's Nick Russell just getting through it. Looking good. But it's Wayne Paulson, the first to turn. He's feeling confident about that first side. They're onto the back. Looking good. Nicely reaching down, making sure they hit the far wood. Looking good. Wow, Nick Russell feeling good. There we go. Taking a second to in that transition to the single buck to breathe. Wayne Paulson right behind him. Now Wayne really likes the single buck. Look at that star for Wayne Paulson on stand number 2. This is going to be back to an even match here. Nick Russell. Wow, it's still working away, and it's Wayne Paulson done that single buck.
118, leading the way.
Here we go. And at 120, Nick Russell dropping that single buck. Moving on to our last discipline, the standing block chop, folks. You got to make some noise here, competitors.
Stick for Nick.
Absolutely. That is one tough piece of timber right there, folks. Nick Russell's got lots of fans in the crowd here today cheering him on. Wayne Paulson looking good, opening up that front side. Nicely done. Here we go, folks. We're almost at the 2-minute mark. Wayne Paulson making his turn.
Digging deep. Nick's digging deep. He's getting around.
Here we go. He's feeling
Close
good.
race.
It's going to be a close one here, folks. Nick Russell turning to that other side at 2:16.
Both guys opening up the knots.
Here we go. Wow, that's a
Dirty
big knot
one
there.
for
That's
Wayne.
not going to help him there, but he's going to fight through it. This is the last couple seconds, folks. You got to cheer on your athletes. Here we go. Nice. He's hitting hard to the last bit. There we go. Nick Russell on stand number 1. Last hit. You got it, man. Wow. That's an intense heat.
And we have 2 good cuts.
Don't go anywhere, folks. More exciting Steel Timber Sports action heading your way right after the break. Welcome back, folks. We have 12 of Canada's top Steel Timber Sports athletes here to claim a spot to represent Team Canada at the Steel Timber Sports World Championships later this year.
Let's head on over to our official Steel Timber Sports scoreboard to check in on the point standings.
All right, we're ready for our next heat of the Canadian Trophy event coming up on stand number 1. Make some noise for Jeff Larkin.
Head-to-head with Jeff, Ben Cumberland. Stand 2. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ben Cumberland, stand number 2, first to the wood, but Jeff Larkin is keeping up. Wow, a photo finish for the stock saw, but Ben Cumberland's not wasting any time in the transition. Moving on to the underhand chop. Look at the power from both of our competitors. There we go. We have the consistent speed from Ben Cumberland making his transition to the other side. Jeff Larkin making sure every hit counts.
Good chop there.
Looking
both guys. Ben's
good.
gonna drive this off.
There we
Real
go.
quick.
We have Jeff Larkin on the other side, but Ben Cumberland is almost done. He's not wasting time. There, he's done. Moving on to the single buck. There we go. He's got to pull. He's got his dad cheering him on from backstage, telling him to pull as hard as he can. Jeff Larkin finishing up his underhand, moving towards. He's feeling confident about his favorite event. Here we go. Jeff Larkin on the single buck, but it's Ben Cumberland. He's already done, moving on to the standing block chop at the 1-minute mark. Here we go. Look at the slabs coming out of Ben Cumberland's block. There we go. That's what he wants to see, but he's got to keep up the energy there. Moving to that last side. You got to cheer him on.
115, 118.
Here we go.
and change.
Jeff Larkin finishing up his single buck, walking over to the standing block chop, taking a breath, making sure he's ready, and he's off and swinging. But Ben Cumberland at the 1:32 mark, looking good. He's got to start driving soon. He wants it bad. There we go.
Good cut by Ben.
Nice work. Let's look over at stand number 1,
145.
Jeff Larkin.
Lots
You
of
got
time.
to cheer on Jeff Larkin, folks.
There we go.
He's
150, lots of time.
He's looking good, feeling confident about this last side. He knows his arms are burning, but he doesn't care. Look at the swings, the strength on Jeff Larkin. Just pushing those. Looking good.
Driving it up.
There we go.
There we go.
Wow.
Upswing.
An upswing to end it.
All right, Ben Cumberland right here, our new leader in the Canadian Trophy. Ben looked like a good race overall. Opened very narrow in the backside of that standing block. Was that a strategy or was it a misset? Talk us through that race.
No, that was 100% a strategy. I was so gassed going into that.
All right, we're ready for our last heat of the Canadian Trophy coming up on stand number 1. Put your hands together for Nathan Cumberland.
And on stand 2, your reigning Canadian champion, Marcel Dupuis. This will be a
heat,
fast race.
absolutely it will. This is definitely going to be the quickest heat we see today on this stage, folks.
Marcel, the most experienced in this event. He's done it overseas many times, Lindsay.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1,
go!
Great start for both of our competitors in the stock saw. Wow, that is a close finish, but it is looking like Marcel, who's going to be first to the wood. Nathan Cumberland right on his tail. He's making up for that lost second, looking good. There we go, Marcel first to turn. Nathan Cumberland right on his tail, folks. This is gonna be a lightning fast heat. We're almost to the 30-second mark. 2 disciplines still to go. Marcel, last couple hits, but Nathan is right on his tail. He's making sure that that's done. Wow, here we go.
Steven.
It is looking close. Strong first pull for Nathan Cumberland, but Marcel's just giving it everything he's got, bearing through the center of that block, all the way down to the end, and it's Marcel Dupuis on stand number 2, already to the standing block. Nathan Cumberland walking over, shaping up that standing block, and he's right into it, folks. He can make this up. Here we go. It is anyone's heat. We're at the 1:15-second mark. Marcel turning at the same time. Both of your competitors, it's coming down to this. We got everyone cheering on your competitors here today, folks. Oh, and it's Nathan Cumberland with that final hit. Marcel Dupuis still working away. He's driving. Nice.
Both guys dropping that time. Well done. Great race. How about that race, folks? Best in the country right there.
All right, gang, here with Marcel Dupuis. Marcel and Nathan both dropping the time to beat, putting yourself as the 2nd seed going into our next round. How you feeling after that cut, Marcel?
I'm glad that first cut is done. It's always the worst one to do. And then next race is all about elimination, so just got to beat the guy you're against.
All right, gang, here with Nathan Cumberland, just setting a new time to beat in our opening round. He's going to be your top seed going into the quarterfinals. Nathan Cumberland, pal, talk me through that race.
It was pretty. I was blessed. I was very blessed. God was very good in that race. Marcel's an awesome competitor, Champions Trophy. He's done a phenomenal job at it. So I was very blessed to stay with him. I didn't cut things quite as clean as I wanted to, but all in all, very blessed.
With our last heat complete, let's check in with our official STIHL Timbersports scoreboard to see our athletes' seating position. Make sure you tune in next week for more exciting coverage of our STIHL Timbersports Canadian Champions Trophy event right here in beautiful Charlottetown, PEI.